Hello and welcome back to Let's Build Zombie Survival. And I'm guessing you're probably noticing what this is. It's a bridge extending over water. Now granted, this water isn't exactly the most beautiful or whatever, but it's good enough to be used. Basically what I did with this is just had it extend. I'm probably going to extend it further. But another thing that I'll be doing is I'll be quarantining this area. Basically, I'm going to put kind of a wall that people can't just walk over or jump over all across this area. It's got to load a little bit. I just kind of logged in, but oh well. I have that little zone area working right there. And personally, this is what a house lot is going to be for the most part. This is going to be more of a compressed housing. And again, it's not that good, but it's okay. What else did I do? I tested out a bunch of interesting items and I've added in some stuff. But I think what I'm going to do today is start work on the monsters. The undead, the zombies, the Zeds, whatever you want to call them. And I think I'm going to pick a couple of stores or buildings, and I'm going to basically start building the inside of them. Now, for the most part, it's going to be working with this stuff. I also have some other items that have been added in. I just don't have on here, I think, or maybe I do. I just don't have them set up the way I want. What I want is the NPC wand. This is the most important one. I'm guessing I could probably just dump one of these other ones. Let's say, let's dump the baton for now. And I'm just going to save this. Usually I like having a little testing zone somewhere deep underground where it can't be disturbed by people. And I can have like a little zone. I don't want to dig down anywhere near here. But for the most part, I'm going to be walling off large portions of this area so I can actually build it up, and I most likely at the end of this recording will either open or basically put the wall up and open it as a server for a couple of people, or at least start the possibility of people signing up to be on this server. And again, I'm only going to be offering this to possibly around 10 people. And that's pretty much at most. And I doubt I'll probably get that many, but who knows. Okay, let's start with this. Now, this is the NPC creator. Basically, you have the inventory. You can actually see what they look like. The artificial intelligence, or AI. I don't want to have avoid water. I don't want it to return to start. I want it to break doors, because this is going to be an undead. On enemies found, retaliate. I want it to be wandering. I want its wandering radius to be 50. So it's got a really long walking radius. Zombies, not smart. They don't really swim. And they don't seek shelter. And they must see a target, they must not see a target. That is different, because if you have the must see a target no, then they can see you through walls, and they're going to hunt you through walls. And with this, if they see you, they'll move. If you like go around a corner, they'll move to the last spot they saw you. So that's one of my favorite things, is you can have them like, you can go one side of the building, then run around, and they'll go to that one side of the building so you can go around them. Stat. This is in half hearts, not hearts. a point of health is actually half a heart. And for the most part, I think I was going to set this to 30. I have some papers here. I was just kind of... Alright. I'll put that there. Yep. 30 health. Personally, I like the aggro range to be around 15 or so. Respawn time, I usually like going for 300 to 600 just because it's got a, that's a good timer. Hide body, I'm actually going to keep the type to normal just because, I mean, it really doesn't affect them as much. But if they're undead, the quote-unquote frag grenades or splash potion of damage 2 won't affect them. That actually heals them, and it doesn't make sense unless I actually get grenades, which I might change that. It's kind of a win-lose type thing. Now, I was thinking, this is melee attack, melee strength. I'm going to put it to 3, so that's 1.5 hearts of damage. Range of 2, that's pretty much a normal melee attack. Basically your normal hit. No knockback, doesn't matter. The effect, I want to either have poison or wither. And wither would actually allow you to die, but poison is, I guess, more forgiving. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to go with poison, because wither, if you get hit and you get hit to roughly about half your health, 5 seconds is pretty much going to take away a quarter of your health. And if I amplify it to 2, then it's pretty much going to kill you. I think if it's amplified to 4... actually, I think it only can be amplified to 2. But if there was a system that had amplified to 4, then it would kill you outright, no matter how much armor you had. Now, personally, I could have the wither, so if you're ever hit by this zombie, you'll die. Because I could have this, because this is in seconds. I usually keep around 5 seconds. I mean, it's effective enough. Let's just call it a zombie. Might as well. Zombie walker. I usually hide it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Model, I want it to be monster male. Now it's just the normal zombie. I'm going to select textures. I have a bunch of these textures I got off a skin site. I think it was Planet Minecraft or something. And as you can see, I adjusted a couple of the things. It's not as good as probably a professional person doing it. I just wanted to have a couple of things. I think I added a little bit more blood to this, possibly. This one I literally kind of just redid the entire face. And I really don't like that alert that keeps happening. That was just for fun, for the Call of Duty stuff. SWAT zombie I actually completely redid with all the blood. So any blood that's on this is from my edition. Zombie 1, I think I wanted to go with one of these for the first one. Oh yeah, the zombie police. And I think I'm going to go with this one. Has limiting animation, yes. Inventory, this is where you can actually show what they drop. So if I do this, he now has 100% chance to drop one filled can. Usually I bump this down to roughly like 2%. Fresh water, I'll do that about the same. single-use batteries, which are basically a re-battery that can only be used once, and once it's depleted, well, it's useless. This is actually, I'm probably not going to have these re-batteries on these normal zombies, just because I don't want them to have that. These are actually useful if you have like a furnace, or an electric furnace, so you can cook whatever you want and you only need to use a battery. Eventually, yes, it'll run out and you'll be unhappy, but who cares? And I'm gonna drop that down to 1%. You can put it to 0%, which means it won't drop. It won't actually drop, it'll just it's there. And you can put armor on them. You can actually put a secondary weapon, so he has a secondary weapon, but I just don't like that. And no explosives on these. I think I might put a combat knife, or actually possibly some melee stuff. Melee. I don't really care about the pronunciation. About the same percent. So they're a viable loot option for normal stuff. And maybe a broken bottle. But again, they're not very likely. I meant to put 1% for that. So 3% for food or water, 1% for batteries, 1% for coffee beans, which can be turned into coffee powder, I think, and then it can be converted into cold coffee, which in turn you can cook to make hot coffee. Coffee. That's just fun. But a couple things you want to do is, this thing is currently part of the friendly faction. Global faction. Add faction. And I'm just doing some basic coding here. And it is aggressive to all known factions. And I'm going to add a few more. Again, I'm going to go for another 2. This one's not going to be hidden, just because I don't feel like doing that. And it's going to be aggressive to pretty much everything again. Only this one's going to be aggressive to pretty much everything else. I also want that to be aggressive. Add another one. For the most part, I want this to be friendly, but not overly friendly. I want this to be basically a neutral. And I can't remember the neutral one. It's F2 FF 1500 and 1500. I guess it is technically a and this one needs to be F2. And I'm going to add one more, and it's going to be the Survivor faction, which is going to be friendly. Survivor faction is just going to be a bunch of smaller units. Basically, I'm putting the military unit as a neutral faction, so you could actually attack the military and gather their stuff. I know it seems a little counterproductive, since the military will technically help you, but I mean, it's good and bad to have people. I mean, you could literally just become a bandit if you wanted. And there we go. Military needs to be aggressive to that. Oh, did I put survivor as, or not survivor, military? Oh yeah, I did. Oops. Okay. Neutral does not actually need to be there. And there we go. Now, just to make sure, bandit and Zeds. There we go. Now that these factions are set up, you can now have the 4 new factions, and this will cross over when I make the world into a server. But now we're done with that, I can now change his role, which can be trader, which I'll be using later on. But not for now. Follower, which you can actually hire them to follow you around, similar to a wolf. But I'm not sure exactly if it can stay or not. Regardless, the banker, transporter, no role. Basically, the job is what you're mostly looking for. Bards play music. They're kind of useless for the most part. They're more for an RP aspect. Healers actually heal you. I'm going to be having doctors that can actually restore your health. Guard is usually what you use for attacking monsters. And personally, I think I'm just going to have this as a no job, basically. You can put the lines, the world lines. Yes, that's good. I need to go back to lines. The interact, I don't like this one. Hello, player. World lines, I like to go for this. And attack line, I usually go for... Now, specific zombies may have a specific type of attack, which pretty much the only different one that's probably going to be even slightly different is going to be... Actually, I guess there's 2 zombies that'll be different. One being the power armor, which instead of like the groan, it'll have a groan as well, but it'll also have like a grinding of metal or something. But the shrieker is kind of a different one, and you'll see that later when I make it, because I'm going to be making it on cam. And yes, this is kind of the boring part, but the fun part comes in a minute. This one, set its faction to Zeds, attack hostile faction, defense, basically defend faction members. These 2 are good. Basically, the attack hostile factions, they'll attack pretty much everything else. But when they defend, if any of these actually aggro, any of the surrounding ones within line of sight of that one that first aggroed will become aggroed to the player. And as long as one of them can see you, they can all see you. It's kind of a hive mind effect, which I actually found is pretty good for these, because if you aggravate one zombie, the horde amasses, and that's usually a good setup. Now, if you're going for, say, the military, you'd have this as well. Bandits, they'll attack hostile factions, but they really won't defend each other. Survivors might not have that as well. I'm kind of debating on whether I want to have that or not. And points mean nothing, because I want these factions to stay as they are for now. I might adjust the faction so that you can join the military faction or join the bandit faction, but it's still debating. And pretty much that's it. This one is Zombie Walker. It's set up, and it'll attack me if I was out of creative. But what you do is you take this little axe, right click, and now you have him saved in this axe. And with that, let's say you want a zombie right here. Now, instead of having to basically go and make a bunch of them, right click, you now have another one. Exact same loot, exact everything. They're exactly the same. And if you say want to have 50 of them, you could. Surprisingly, this is a really lightweight mod and it's pretty easy to work around. I've done maps that have had over 200 NPCs at once. Like within, I think, only like 5x5 chunks, or I guess it was probably a little bit bigger than that, but you get the point. It's pretty compact for what it normally is. And I'll probably just keep putting them there. And I'll switch out of creative. Probably with a gun or something. Let's say M16A4 and M16 mag. Now, they can't see you through this automatically, but they can see you through it if they are aggro too. So I'm just going to switch out of here. They should be aggroed to me now. Oh, I forgot to make them slow, didn't I? Oh well. It's only a range, and they have to be within range of that. But if I were to say, see, the one that was behind me aggroed onto me, and that's alerted the ones that were in here, which I think there should be 2 more. And granted that these aren't the most powerful of anything, but they're better than nothing. They're also quite durable. But yeah, I'm going to adjust them to be slower. That is just proof of concept that yes, they work. Actually, didn't I just... Yeah, there we go. And if, say, you don't want to have a specific NPC, you don't know where he is, but you know that he's somewhere around somewhere, like, say here, right-click in the air. You could find them and delete them. Hence, I'm just deleting all of them here, and I'll adjust them as I see fit. Say if I'm resetting all the NPCs and I want to have the respawns in a different position, I can just delete them from there. You could also, I forgot to show, I'm just going to put this one here. If you're in here, you can also edit that one zombie from a distance. You can also freeze them and teleport to them. Basically, if you lose one of these NPCs and you know he's around somewhere, you can teleport to him. Now granted, you have to be, I think, in creative and landed to actually have that effect. Oh, you also have to have him clicked, but there we go. And you can freeze them. Basically holds them in suspension. You can still kill him if you want, but that's kind of defeats the point. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to find him and edit him. AI. I think actually... Where is that spot? Right here. I usually like to have them around 4. That's a pretty good speed. And basically they just don't get any faster. would usually bump this down. Now for heavier things like, say, a marine zombie or something, some sort of military zombie who has a lot of gear on him, or even a large zombie, which you can also do, they walk a little bit slower, but it's not too bad. And there we go. He should now be pretty slow even if I were to get out of creative. See? Normal zombies, you can just walk around. But if they're in the horde, then you're pretty much screwed. And see, they can see you through the fencing. I think. And ooh, that hurt him, and he's unhappy. Their range is pretty good, pretty decent. And you could also, if say you want him back. Oh, and I crashed. I'll see you guys in a minute. And I'm back. I think that was an issue with me setting it to OP. Basically, ops can only use these wands. I think I changed it back at one point, but I think this setting where people who are not in creative and op can't use that. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him with an admin gun that I specifically made for the purpose of testing. The admin artillery cannon. It blows them to oblivion. And what you do is you right click in the air, you highlight over them, and you click reset. And that brings them back. So you can blow them up all you want. Oh yeah, by the way, this cannon, it will do absolutely no damage to any of them. Even though it hits near them. But if it hits them, anything within, I think it's a 7-block radius, takes 300 damage, so it's just a bug with Flans mod. It's kind of the annoying things of the rocket launchers. You actually have to hit something, otherwise it does no damage. But, see, I can just blow up every building and it won't deal a single point of damage. Look at this dirt. It doesn't, I think the main issue with there is, that it no longer deals damage because I have the explosions turned off, so I don't think it's dealing the damage it should be. Because usually if it hits something, it blows up a good portion of the area. Oh yeah, and I do have this to have a fully automatic with 20 rounds. I was actually thinking about, at one point, just standing up here, someone calls in an artillery strike. And it just blows that place to oblivion. And as long as it hits something, I mean, it does an immense amount of damage. I also have a nuke, which, right here, admin tactical nuke, and basically you shoot that up in the air and eventually it rains down hell, or if you hit someone directly then it blows up I think it was 500 block radius in which it does 9,000 damage times the 1,000 projectiles that gets launched. So I think it's a little overkill, but I mean, of course it's a nuke, and that hits everyone. So even if I was on a server with people, as long as you're inside a building or something, you'll pretty much be saved. But if you're outside or within range of that, you have no chance. Let's just say that you have no chance. And there you go. That's basically me setting up the NPCs, and now I can actually start, say, building a few undead to walk the street. I'm also going to do something else. I'm going to spawn you. I'm now also going to edit you. And I want to make you a large zombie, I guess. I probably should have. And I'll put him to 7. Personally, I can't remember how to actually adjust the width of something, but I can at least try to do that, and now he's larger than these normal zombies. And granted, I'll be adjusting all these stats, and that's just basically me showing you how to set up the zombies. I'm probably going to do the rest off cam. And that other one's... and it crashed again. That's kind of an issue, is I think there's a couple bugs running around with this, but I'll see you later. If you like what you're watching, subscribe. If not, oh well. Have a good day.